After Jesus has prepared his disciples, he says, "Come now, let us leave." And we land into today's reading, John chapter 15, verses 1 to 17, where Jesus teaches them about how he is the vine. There's some debate whether Jesus has left at this point, whether Jesus has left his final meal with his disciples, and as he is journeying to Gethsemane, he's pointing out things and using them as metaphors for what he's doing. That he literally walks past the vine, or he points to some of the engravings on the side of the temple as he leads his disciples, as he journeys to his arrest and gives them his final words. But the vine isn't just a metaphor or something that Jesus has plucked out of thin air. The vine is rich, is a rich image that's rich in the story of the people of God. An image that is used throughout the Hebrew Bible to talk about what God is doing in and with his people, to show this sense that God is nurturing a people for a purpose, for them to bear fruit, for them to bear flowers, for them to speak of him and his goodness to the world around them, that he would sustain them. That image has been rich for us as well. Just over a year ago, we spoke about fruitfulness during our weekend away. God has often shaped us as a church through the community garden projects, but also through that image of us being a living garden full of diversity, full of richness, where God is calling us to take in the warm sunlight of his love and to be fruitful, to flower to our community and to be rooted in community, in his word together. This passage is so rich that actually I spent 2 years writing my master's dissertation on it. If you are struggling to sleep at the moment, then maybe I could send you a copy. But I think one of the best ways of digesting this passage is through meditation, is through reading it slowly and allowing God to speak to you. And tomorrow's devotion is a poem that LJ has written based upon this passage. And I think in some ways it brings us to a more meaningful, personal interpretation of it. But rather than a master's dissertation, I want to bring out 3 S's that I think God speaks to us through this passage. The first is that if we're looking for direction in life, the fact that Jesus is the vine brings us structure. It gives us direction. And actually, often, if we're struggling to find direction in life, what God does is he prunes and takes away. He prunes those parts of our life that are withered and dry, and we're still constantly lavishing with attention, but we should just cut off. He prunes those parts of our lives that aren't fruitful, that aren't flowering, in order that other parts of our life might flourish. He prunes the part of us that are growing in the wrong direction or that are tangled up in the wrong things. So where would God shape your life today? You could ask him in prayer. The second thing is that Jesus being our vine gives us sustenance. Jesus talks about how he is a vine and he has fruit for us to bear. That there is a purpose to our life. That we are sustained by him, and that when we are faithful in holding on to him, we bear fruit. A lot of us are looking for purpose in life, are looking to do things and wondering what life is all about. Why are we here? Well, Jesus says that actually it's his story. It's his fruit. It's his vine. We are bound to him, and through that we find purpose. Through that we give fruit to the world around us. And the final S is shared. That actually this life is shared. Just as Jesus shares his life in and with the Father, we are called to share not just with Jesus, but with one another. That actually this love is supposed to result in fruit that will remain. You might have seen that translated as fruit that will last. But it's the same word when Jesus says, remain in me. He's calling us to bear fruit that will remain. That is, he's calling us to bring other people to him that they may find home and hope in him. And we bring people in through love, through demonstrating the same love that we are rooted and established in. So who are you sharing the love of Christ with today? As you read and meditate on this rich passage, I pray God would speak to your heart afresh.